Looking at locating the critical path. So previously in class, we'll have talked about finding critical paths, finding float times, and then finding the minimum time that you can do. So this is how we calculate it. So we have a network diagram here where we've already done the forward scanning to find the earliest start time, and we've done the backward scanning to find the latest start time for it. So now we have to find the critical path. Now, finding the critical path is pretty straightforward. The critical path is a sequence of critical activities. Yeah, well, that's obvious. In other words, which are the ones that cannot be delayed without affecting the overall completion time? So, in other words, they're the ones that have to be done at the time that they have to be done. They don't have any float time or any grace periods. So in the previous example, we had activity B where we could have started on day 3, which meant we had those 3 days grace. The critical path does not have those grace. So if you're trying to think about it in terms of, well, what's easy for me to recognize and see what's happening, you basically want the ones that don't have a gap between their latest starting time and their earliest starting time. Now, that's not always going to happen, but we will follow along with this and see how we go. All right. So we want to finish on day 28. So we are looking for the ones that have a float of 0. So we're looking for a float time of 0, which means your earliest starting time equals your latest starting time. All right. So let's have a look. Well, we're going to go from here. We're going to go back to there. So that is one of them. So going back to 2626. Now, if we went that way, we'd end up at 2425. Whereas down here, we have 2222. So that's the one we're going to go. Then we have 1919. So we're going to go there. And we're obviously following this path. Then we have, now, even though you see that one, which is G, that would be if we came along that way. We're not actually doing activity G. We're going to do activity H because that gets us to the 1515 one. Okay. So that is good. Now we're looking at it going, okay, well, which one's next? Well, if I went back by that way, activity C, I would be looking at that. And that has a float of 2. So we have a look and go, well, what are my other options? Well, I've got this dummy activity that I can follow, and that actually has a float of 1 there. So that's the direction I'm going to go. So I'll just do a dotted line up to there, and we're going to go up to there. So when we get back down to here, we still have a float of only 1. And then we'll come across to here, and we end up at 0, 0. So that is our critical path. So if we have a look at it, where did we go? We actually went from A to B, then from B to H. So ignore that one. We've actually gone there. We've gone from B. We didn't actually do activity F. We went straight down to activity H. So B to H, the dummy activity doesn't count. There is no sort of activity in there. It's a dummy activity. And then we've gone H, we've gone to I, we've gone to L, that's the one up here, and then L, we've gone M. So that is the critical path of activities for this particular one.